Hey, we back with another one, man. Back with a second vid. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm just sweaty as fuck. I had a long ass day. Had my classes. Had my classes from like 8 to 12. Then I had work from like 1 to 6 something. Went skating because I just needed to move like all day, just like kind of stationary. Like, it's too much. Like, it's something that I'm into like astrology and shit as well. Like, kind of like I definitely believe it, but like I don't know as much as I guess I would like to, and I'm gonna learn more about it because the shit that I've read really does like make sense to me. Whatever you think about it, that's cool, but give it a chance. It's pretty cool. And but one girl, Lisa, shout out Lisa, in my school, she used to always tell me that like Tauruses, and I think I read it somewhere later as well, but like Tauruses, which I'm a Taurus, really need to like let out like physical energy. Like, they need to move, they need to like work out or skate or do some shit. Otherwise, like, it builds up as like emotions and stuff. And to an extent, that happens to all of us. But like, I really feel that. Like, sometimes I just don't want to stay still, you know. But anyway, like I was just like skating and shit. I was getting really angry. As sometimes happens when you're skating, but to me it rarely happens. But I was just getting so angry. I couldn't land this trick that like I know I got like fairly decently easy. It was like a heel flip over this like, man, it was like this big of a gap. So like you heel flip over off this thing, right? And yeah, I was just getting so angry, and all I wanted to do was just scream and throw my board and shit. But it's like there was so many people around, and like there was this like construct of like, you don't just start screaming, you don't just like go crazy sometimes. But in reality, that's like some of the most healthiest way you can just release it, you know. Like, I meditated after and stuff, and obviously like I let out some grunts and shit, but like I didn't let myself go fully. And I think at one point I want to go into like a forest or somewhere wild and just fucking let myself go crazy. Um, this chick called Skylife, man, mad shit. I fucking love her channel, but like she did like these like witch rituals, like rage rituals, which is funny because I'm wearing my brand Rage. I have a shirt on there that says Rage as well. And it was exactly that, like accepting that part of yourself that just wants to go crazy, wants to rage, and not suppressing it. So when I felt those emotions, that's when like I was just like, okay, let me like I meditated and I started writing shit down, and it was basically about that. It was about like, it's okay to feel angry, it's okay to rage. You need to just let it out, right? Feel it all, do it all, and it's okay. You're gonna feel like shit sometimes. You're gonna feel emotions that are, I guess, like more quote unquote negative, even though that's just like a perception that we have that like being angry is like worse than like, I don't know, feeling joyous, right? Um, but yeah, you're gonna feel like shit sometimes, and just let it flow. I have the shit that I wrote down, just like super random. I can barely even read it, but let the shit. I like this part that I wrote. Let the shit flow. Let the shit flow through you and out of you. If you don't, like, blockages will form. Imagine like you ate something that like was kind of off, or something like it just feels wrong, and you kind of have it in your digestion. Imagine you just, instead of like feeling it calm down and like letting it flow out of you and maybe feeling it a little bit like shit, to then fucking pooping that bitch out. Imagine you were just like, oh no, wait, like just stay, just like, or just like ignored it, or just like put it away. If you could somehow like just put it away, right? I mean, obviously it doesn't really work like that with our bodies, mais ou menos, like a little bit, right? But yeah, if you don't let these blockages out of you, they're just gonna form things, and they can like, you're pretty much suppressing a part of yourself, like your shadow, quote unquote. You're not letting it come out, like the angry Tino, the one that just wants to go crazy sometimes and just like scream and go crazy. And this is especially true for guys when it comes to anger. Obviously, like, everyone experiences anger, but guys nowadays have been taught that like anger is like the worst thing in the world, and like you're not allowed to feel angry, and that's like toxic masculinity and stuff. And I'm not saying like go get angry at people and like screaming and shit and like going into fights, but I'm talking like about genuinely like healthy ways of letting out anger. Fucking punching some pillow, fucking working out, just screaming, just like fucking doing push-ups. Like, it sounds funny and it sounds all like, oh yeah, macho, and no, fuck that. That's like some real fucking shit inside of you. Like, you need to let that out of you. And it's like a part of like the effects of testosterone, right? And it's like, it's what kept us alive through evolution, being angry, having that chicken, the fucking fight or flight mode. And yeah, so like, let that come out of you. Another thing that I wrote is, let it happen. You're gonna have to do shit that you don't necessarily like fully enjoy, and this is when it comes to like, I don't know, growing up I was like, nah, I'm only gonna do stuff that I really like and this and that. And obviously that's the goal, like, you know, moving in that direction. But regardless, you're gonna have to do shit that you don't enjoy, and you need to come to terms with that fact. And I am coming into terms with that fact more and more. Imagine you're even like a dad and like you're super happy like being with your kids and shit, and like you're having a sick ass time. Man, sometimes you're gonna have to do some shit that like maybe is not the most enjoyable, you know? Maybe you're like wiping the poop off your like fresh ass clothes, or like your son or your daughter just fucking pooped everywhere, or your kids just like being a tweaker sometimes and like just having a temper tantrum, and like they're not listening to what you're trying to say, even if you're like genuinely just trying to help them. And I don't know, whatever. Like the case is, like even in the most beautiful things that you can do, there's always gonna be things that you don't enjoy, and it's okay. Like just like try to zoom out, try to see the bigger picture. Imagine your higher self, and like I guess borrow power from your higher self. And if you don't know what your higher self is, it's basically like what your ideal version of yourself. If you close your eyes and you imagine your ideal version of yourself in every aspect of life, what would they do? What would they have gone through? What kind of sacrifices does a person in that position make and has made in the past to be where they're at? So when you look at it like that, it's like, yeah, of course I'm gonna do that shit that I don't really enjoy. Like it's part of the plan, it's part of the process. So what? Yeah, borrow energy from your higher self. Get through it. Don't avoid. Yeah, this is a big one. Don't avoid that pile of shit on your bed, on your fucking desk, and I mean like figuratively. In the past, I actually did this like physically. Like my room, for those that know, back in high school, bro, my shit was a mess. Just like shit everywhere. I wouldn't clean it. It was all a mess, and I was like comfortable in that mess because it's like all I knew. And I felt so, dude, it took me so much, like months, and even just like thinking about it, like, starting with this will be so much, I'll just do it tomorrow, and this like procrastination of like, I don't want to do this because I don't want to do it, and then it just keeps piling up, right? Like, so start sorting that shit out figuratively and physically. I never liked doing it, but having a clean space was so much easier, and it made so much sense. And then once you do have that space, it's so much easier to like maintain that, like even in your head, in your life, when you get used to doing those little tasks and things that might be like a part of the bigger picture, but they're not necessarily like big things that you enjoy. But then it's so much easier. Everything else becomes so much easier. It's not like this like huge thing that you have to do, or you feel like you've piled up. It's just like an everyday thing. It's just a process, right? And then you gain momentum as well. So then things that used to be hard start becoming easy, you know? Taking cold showers, working out, like when you start, it feels like the biggest fucking chore in the world. You don't want to do it until at one point, like it feels weird if you don't do it. You miss it. It's like you realize the positive effects it has, even though it could be like painful, or like it could be like not a comfortable feeling, right? It's outside of your comfort zone. Get the fuck out of the comfort zone. Like that shit is the biggest trap. And it's okay to feel comfort. It's okay to feel pleasure and all these beautiful things. It's not all about like, you know, we hustle hard, we fucking grind, not dog. But like realistically though, like you need to step out of your comfort zone in order to grow. There's a cringy quote, but it's true. Like diamonds are only formed under pressure, and that is facts. Like right now, like I saw a comment on the video from yesterday. Someone, I can't remember who said it. It was like, oh yeah, like Tino's under pressure, man, life's hitting him, and like real talk, it is, and like it feels good. It's cool. It's cool feeling that. Like it's cool, like going with the punches and hitting some jabs and shit. Speaking of that, I really want to get into some martial arts. I feel like skating and all this stuff is cool, but genuinely learning how to fight and using my body, and that's a whole nother level of like primal release and anger and like combat and like in your body. Like it's so cool. But yeah, so what I'm trying to say is, but yeah, if you don't start now, whatever it is, whatever that pile of shit is, like figuratively, like that thing that you know you gotta do in order to progress into what you want to do, if you don't do that today, like you're basically taking away from tomorrow's power and potential, from the next month, the next year, possibly your whole life. You know, you're just kind of like cock blocking yourself. You know, you're blocking your potential, right? So I know it can be hard. It's really hard to start. Like I've been there. Like I've just been such a lazy cunt sometimes, and just okay. That's obviously like I'm fucking around. You know, like when I call myself a lazy cunt, I'm not saying you're a lazy cunt if you're like into that shit. See, even this, why the fuck am I explaining myself? Fuck that. This is my YouTube channel. If you don't like me using these words and stuff and you're offended, man, get the fuck out of here. It's not about that. It's about the message overall. It's not about the exact words. what I'm trying to say is, if you know that you're kind of like limiting yourself and you're sulking or being lazy, you gotta just start. Whatever it is, you gotta just start like one step at a time. And yeah, things will start making sense. They'll start aligning. They'll become easier. And yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is, the whole premise of this video was like, really let your emotions come through. Really let them be. Like, let yourself be sad. Let yourself be angry. Let yourself feel guilty sometimes and shame. And it's okay. Just let it come out of you, you know. By you suppressing it or pretending it's not there or ignoring it or numbing yourself down with like alcohol, drugs, sex, whatever, gaming, jacking off, whatever the fuck, it's just like a short-term cover-up. You're just piling that shit up under your carpet until at one point it's just gonna be this huge pile of shit. So just open it up, let it be dirty, let it be nasty, let it be toxic, whatever it is, let it out of you. Journal, work out, move the energy around your body, whatever that is, dancing, fucking singing, music. Like, you need to let it move. If you're inside and you're sulking, go outside, go for a walk, just take your ass outside, man, and just walk, and just, you'll appreciate things around you, and things will just naturally move around. We're supposed to be moving around, and I feel like that's also another factor, like the fact that we're so like sedentary. I don't know, man. Like the fact that we don't move around as much, we don't move this shit out of us. There's so much energy just stuck in our head, and we're overthinking it, and we're packing shit, and we're like, we don't know what to do with certain feelings, and it's just so like unnatural, right? So yeah, let yourself feel what it is. Whatever the case is, just accept it, let it out of you in a healthy way, or as healthy as you can, so that you don't end up being that person that's like, oh yeah, I'm all good, like I don't, like in your head, like I'm all good, I don't get angry, but then you're kind of like passive aggressive to people, or like you're always a little bit like jealous of others, and there's always this sort of like toxic like behavior and shit, because like that's what happens a lot. So yeah, peace out, guys. Second video, I'm just gonna keep it flowing. Whatever is on my mind, I'm just gonna go with it. I don't know if it's gonna be every day. Tomorrow I might post a video that I had like from months ago, when I basically had a similar case where I realized I was basically suppressing like rage and anger inside of me, not letting it come out, because it was like not right, and I wasn't being a good person with those thoughts, or like a spiritual wholesome being. Which, fuck that, like that's like toxic positivity, and like the spiritual ego of always having to be positive. That's not the way, right? And that caused me like back pain and shit. Like I thought I had like a back issue for like the longest time, and at one point I did, but I had literally developed like a pattern in my head because of these emotions that I was suppressing, and I read a book about it, and it like completely opened my mind, and like I'm completely fine now. Like I don't have any issues, none of that bullshit. So yeah, that video will probably come tomorrow. I'm gonna wrap this up. One love, guys. Let yourself feel what it is. I know it can be fucking hard sometimes. Don't think about those social norms or like what's accepted. Fuck that. And yeah, one love, homies. See y'all tomorrow.